Hey, welcome back to Homebuyers 101. I'm Mary Barela-Cordova with RE/MAX Revolution.
And I'm Mike Cordova with RE/MAX Revolution and Model Mortgage Express.
Well, there you go. And today we're going to be talking about making the home offer and home inspections.
Right. Yeah, so previously we talked about finding the perfect house. So now we found the perfect house and we want to write an offer to win that deal.
There you go.
How do we do that, Mary?
Well, it's really important for us to create a strong, dynamic team. And that's why at the beginning we mentioned finding the right lender to work with. Somebody that's going to be aggressive getting you to get your paperwork done, for one. And that takes a little bit of work. And making sure that you're qualified. We want to present the strongest team as possible. Many times our buyers get the offer when there's 2 or 3 or 4 or sometimes even 10 offers, because Mike and I have a lot of experience, and the agent on the other side doesn't want just the highest offer. They want a great realtor to be working with who's going to bring them a qualified buyer who's ready to perform to the terms of the contract. Right, Mike? Right.
Yeah, so it's our reputation that I think helps us win a lot of deals. We know what it takes to get the deal accepted and how to get through the transaction successfully, and that's important.
And what's happening in Denver right now, if we want to kind of be current as far as submitting offers in certain price ranges, what do you think, Mike?
So what we found is that right now demand far outstrips supply. So especially in the price range under $450,000, we're finding that there's a lot of buyers for limited inventory. So we end up being in situations where we have multiple offer situations.
Right.
How do we win those multiple offer situations,
Well,
Mary?
and it's kind of like what we just said before, is that we're going to present ourselves as strong, educated, experienced realtors, and we're going to make sure that our clients are going to do what the seller needs. Many times in this market, the seller needs to have a post-occupancy agreement. And what that means is that the seller does not want to have to move twice. They don't want to have to move clothes, not go into storage, put their things in storage, move into a rental while they go find a second home. So in our market, because of this challenge, we do something called a post-occupancy agreement. And we want our buyer to know that this is going to help them get the offer by agreeing and saying to the seller, no problem. After closing, you can stay for 30 days. I'll only charge you $45 a day with a $1,000 deposit. And the seller looks at our offer over another one where they're not agreeing to give them a post-occupancy agreement. And we might not have the highest price, but we have the best terms. And that's why we get accepted many times, right?
Right. And there's other things that we can do that help us win deals. For example, we could do an appraisal gap provision.
That's right. An appraisal gap provision is very strong.
And that appraisal gap provision basically says that if we offer $460, say the house is priced at $450,
okay,
and we know that we have to go over the asking price to win that deal. If we go to $460, we could say in our appraisal gap provision, if the house comes in, it appraises at $450, this buyer will bring an additional $10,000 to closing to close that deal. So that the seller knows that if the appraisal comes in low, they can still get the deal closed.
And that's really important. Mike just had a deal recently where I believe the appraisal came in $20,000 under the purchase price. And this was in a $450,000, $480,000 type of range. And so the buyer, of course, was upset because they thought the house was worth more. The seller's upset because they thought the house was worth more. And they don't want to reduce their price, because what happens when the appraisal comes in low, which we need to tell you, is the lender's not going to give the buyer the full loan now. They're going to say, hey, it's not worth the contract price. What are you going to do to solve it? So Mike stepped in. We, of course, disputed the appraisal. The appraiser never changed it. Seller agreed to come down $10,000, and Mike's buyer agreed to bring $10,000 to closing. Everyone's happy. We're moving forward. Well, and then we're going to have a closing. So you've got to be able to handle stress, and you've got to be able to be a great problem solver. Mike used to be in IT, and he's like the best problem solver in the world. He can look at the big world picture and just kind of pull things down and then come up with some great solutions. That's one of the reasons people love working with him. Really. I'm being serious.
Thanks, Mary. So we get the offer accepted. Our next step is doing the inspection.
The home inspection. And that can be kind of scary for people. But Mike and I do know some really good home inspectors. And when we recommend somebody, it's because another client has used them and they've been very happy with them. It's not because we own the company or because we're getting paid by them. It's because they've done a good job. And when they do the home inspection, there's some basic things they're looking for, right, Mike?
Right. So a home inspector is looking at the major systems in the house. They're looking at the roof. They're looking at the electrical. They're looking at the plumbing. They're looking at the structure. So they're going to identify things that are problems now or could be problems in the future.
Right.
And what they're going to do is create a report, an inspection report that's going to could be up to 70 pages.
It will be.
Of items.
And pictures.
And, you know, one of the things that inspectors do is they're going to list everything, you know, even cosmetic issues, because they don't want a buyer to come back and say, hey, you missed this.
The door didn't latch.
Yeah.
And you forgot to put it on the inspection. Now I'm mad at you.
Right. So our job as realtors is to interpret that inspection report to determine, you know, what you should ask for in the inspection objection.
And that goes back to writing the offer. One of the other ways we can make a strong offer is we can say to the seller in the original offer before it's accepted, buyer will only ask for safety or health concerns during inspection. And that can give a seller some peace of mind that you're not going to say, gee, that door latch is broken, or that blind doesn't work, or even maybe the ice maker isn't working, because that's not really a safety or health concern. But if the electrical panel is bad and needs to be replaced, that is a safety concern. So Mike's right, the home inspector is going to be really looking for the big items, but they'll also mark the little items as well. Can you address radon a little bit? A lot of people don't know about radon gas that we have in Colorado. It's kind of important.
Right. So there's a basic inspection, and then there's two other things that we recommend that buyers do. One is a radon test, and that's only if the house hasn't already had a radon mitigation system installed. A radon test will test to see if the radon levels in the home are under the EPA guidelines of 4.0 picocuries.
That's right.
And radon gas is something that's present in Colorado. It's part of the soil that we all live under or live on top of.
It kind of comes up through the ground.
Right.
And because it's a gas, it can travel through the foundation of a home. And if you have a basement with a basement bedroom, it's really important, and we would recommend you do a radon test. Now, you're going to have to pay for it. It is additional. It's typically between $100 and $150. And they are going to leave the test there for 48 hours so that it can measure the radon levels over the 48-hour time and see what they're at. And the reason it's important is that they have learned that the radon gas can cause cancer, and it's second only to cigarette smoking for deaths.
For lung cancer.
For lung cancer.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
Right. So radon is something that we're going to check. If there's a problem with radon, we're going to ask the seller to fix it. The other thing that we recommend that you check is the sewer line. And the reason that we recommend the sewer line test is because if there's a problem with the sewer line, it can be an extremely expensive fix. So we want to identify if there's a problem, and if there is a problem, we're going to ask the seller to fix it.
Yep.
And if the seller isn't going to fix it, that's a good reason for us to pull you out of that deal.
Well, and here's the thing. We're there to help you get information. We're always going to attend the home inspection with you. Some agents don't attend the inspection, but as your buyer agent, we always believe we need to be there to be a third party to kind of give you a little bit of an interpretation sometimes of the information that you're getting. It can kind of be a little bit overwhelming at times, and we want to make sure that you're comfortable and that you understand and ask questions of the home inspector and of us. And then our job is to help you kind of dial down the information and make our list and say, Mr. Seller, looks like radon's high. We need that to be mitigated. There's a couple outlets that aren't working. Those need to be repaired, and that's electrical. It's a safety and health concern. Maybe sometimes the roof with Denver and Colorado, the hail, sometimes the roofs need just repair, which is fine. We can also recommend experts that would be able to give us a bid before we even submit our inspection notice to the seller. And that way we have a little more information to give the seller. And if the bid on the roof repair is $800, we submit the bid with our inspection notice to correct so that the seller has more information, right, Mike?
Right. So once we submit that objection notice, the seller will come back with an inspection resolution. We're going to review that with the buyer and determine if they're covering the things that we need to have addressed.
Right.
And if they're not, we will try and negotiate through that. If we can't get an agreement that works for the buyer, we're going to pull you out of that deal.
And this is a time in the contract that we wrote originally, and now you're under contract. It's a time that you can get your earnest money back if you're not happy with the resolution that the seller has sent you. So our job is to protect your earnest money and to keep on top of those deadline dates to make sure that you're protected. Our job is working for you and protecting you through this process. And the home inspection is a big, big step. Once we work through it, we move forward towards appraisal and any other issues that need to be taken care of. And usually closing is only another 20 days away.
Right. So that's our conversation for today. Thank you for coming and listening to us.
And we're excited. We're hoping that you'll comment below. We're hoping that you'll click like. We're hoping that you post us on Facebook or share us. Oh, and we also want you to subscribe. That would be awesome too. We're so excited that you're taking the time to be here with us. Hopefully we gave you some valuable information. Give us a call. 303-931-5871 is my cell. And Mike is at 720-323-5662. There you go. Thank you. Have a great day. Be safe and be well.